Hey guys, it's your humble host, or Kid if you prefer, so I'm back with another video. This one is more than likely going to lose me subs and followers. You guys should know damn well where I stand with this stuff by now, so we're going to go through the article. I'm going to try to be as calm as I can, and not because I'm ticked off at the article. I'm actually quite excited about it, but I'm going to try to avoid ranting about particular things that were done in the past by the previous president. So I'll try to keep a lid on it as best I can. So here we go. Transgender health protections reversed by Trump administration. The Trump administration on Friday finalized a rule that would remove non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ people when it comes to healthcare and health insurance. HHS respects the dignity of every human being, and as we have shown in our response to the pandemic, we vigorously protect and enforce the civil rights of all to the fullest extent permitted by our laws as passed by Congress, said Roger Sobrino, who directs the Office for Civil Rights in the Department of Health and Human Services, in a written statement announcing that HHS rule had become final. So it's not pending, it's not, oh, it has to go to this floor or that one. No, it is law. The rule is set to go into effect by mid-August. It is one of the many rules and regulations put forth by the Trump administration that defines sex discrimination, and I love this part, as only applying when someone faces discrimination for being male or female, man or woman, and does not protect people from discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. So, meaning the law does not give a flying shit how you identify as or what you feel you are. Sorry, little cat. So it is if you're discriminating on based off your biological sex. This has been a long time coming, and we have seen a paradigm shift with this trans cult lunacy. We have seen the transitioners rise up. We've seen more parents rise up against this crap. Save James is a perfect example. Save Maya Swartz is a perfect example. As I said before, in the UK, the detransitioners is a big movement, and it's happening all over. Their paradigm is shifting. It's about damn time. So, as I said, I'm going to try to keep a lid on it, but I can relate to the personal struggle myself. So, in a way, I'm angered because people fall for this trans cult lunacy and they destroy themselves, they destroy their lives, they become medically dependent. And as we've seen with the detransitioners, mind you, is a lot of them have come out and said, hey, I was just put on cross-sex hormones. My deeper issues were not delved into. And let's talk about that, because as it's seen, 3 people I can go off my fingers that I know are transitioning or have fully transitioned, and they're either victims of some sort of horrible trauma, more often than not sexual, or they have some mental disability, or they're on the spectrum when it comes to autism or Asperger's. They're a little bit different. I know there's some other conditions here and there. I'm not a medical professional, but you guys get what I mean. Every time you have a person who transitions, you can either find trauma, autism on the spectrum, or some sort of mental disability. Always, always, always. Or if you want to add in there, brainwashing, because that's what they're doing with our little kids. Let's continue. Supporters of the new rule said this is a necessary reversal of the Obama-era executive overreach, which Obama did a lot of overreaching, by the way, and reduce confusion about the legal meanings of sex discrimination. Yes, it will, because Obama crippled our military with this trans lunacy, stomped on religious beliefs, expressions of religion, made employers pay for abortion, which if they say, for example, Hobby Lobby, I know there's a big thing with that. People trying to get Hobby Lobby to pay for their employees' abortion. If I was an employer in this day and age, I wouldn't even offer insurance. Nothing, because I wouldn't even want to screw with that crap. Going, I'm not paying for shit that I don't stand by or that I don't condone. My company stands for a certain thing, and this is not part of that message. So, no, that's just me. Critics argue that the rule could further harm on an already vulnerable group. They're vulnerable because you have Big Pharma prey on them in these freaking whack jobs that take and twist the brokenness that they already have and make them medically dependent on a system. When you transition, you are bound to that medical system for life. You have more complications, there's more risk of cancer, And I'm not making fun because this is what happens. You gain weight, you lose your hair faster. Again, I've talked about this multiple times on my channel. Look at just what birth control does. Synthetic hormones. Just look at what synthetic hormones does to a naturally balanced body. That's it, because that's what HRT, hormone replacement therapy, is. Synthetic hormones. Anyway, let's continue. Transgender people in the midst of a pandemic and historic unrest spurred by the killing of George Floyd at the hands of the police in Minneapolis. I can't help but wonder if the timing of this rule is by design so that this is something that the people won't pay attention to, said Tia Sherry Gaynor, a political science professor at the University of Cincinnati. You mean what the Democrats do? A lot of stuff they try to sneak into the stimulus bill, because they've had a couple that have been dead on the floor. Let's not point fingers now, because the Dems are just as guilty as sneaking crap through. What the final rule does. The rule focuses on non-discrimination protections laid out in Section 1557 of the Affordable Care Act. The federal law established that it is illegal to discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability in certain health programs and activities. In 2016, an Obama-era rule explained that the protections regarding sex encompass those based on gender identity. You mean the trans umbrella, the freaking I am gender fluid, I am a girl one day and I'm a guy the next day. No, it is not. What Obama did was complete and utter garbage. We now have certain groups that are running one become more bold. We have large parts of the LGBT creeping on children, and people go, well, that's not the real LGBT. Bull freaking shit. Bullshit. You have the drag queen stuff now, preying on specifically on little boys. You do have large parts of the LGBT who do support what's called MAPs, aka pedophiles, and been wanting to add the P4. Do not tell me that this is not what's going on. This has been in the works for a while. People have just gotten more freaking brazen with this shit. And no, in a way, like I said at the beginning of the video, part of me is angry because a part of me can relate to the struggle, and I just see so many people swept up and indoctrinated in this shit, and that's being forced upon our children, being forced upon parents. As I said before, I don't want kids because of this shit. I would make people disappear if I had kids and I found these suckers messing with my kids in that sort of way. Oh, me and my husband are already in agreement about that. I don't want kids because of this crap. Anyway, let's continue before I go off on a freaking tangent. Identity, which is defined as male, female, neither, or a combination of male and female. Yeah, the freaking gender fluid crap. In June 2019, under Trump, the HS Office for Civil Rights proposed a rule, the one finalized this week, that reverses the one from the Obama administration. So Obama did a lot of garbage. He should have. I swear to God, that man was working for somebody else with his TPP crap, the other stuff, bound to Saudi Arabia. No, man, there was something wrong with that dude. And the fact that his wife is a dude, come on, man. And people want to call that conspiracy. There's videos out there with proof. So, Sobrino said at the time, we're going back to the plain meaning of those terms, and it's about time too, which is based on biological sex. He also said that the rule could save hospitals and insurers and others $2.9 billion over the 5 years, since they will be relieved of the requirement to print notices of non-discrimination in several languages and include them with any significant mailings. So that is something too. Under the new rule, a transgender person could, for example, be refused care for a checkup at a doctor's office. If you're not a woman, biological woman, you do not need women's services because you do not have the freaking plumbing. Just like if you're not a man, a biological man, you do not need to be going for men's services because your body's not biologically male. It's just the end of story. I'm so tired of this crap. I really am. The more that I sit and watch, and as I said, these two custody cases specifically, save Miles Gortz and then save James Younger. No. Okay, said Lindsay Dawson, Associate Director of HIV Policy at the Kaiser Family Foundation. Other possible scenarios include a transgender man being denied treatment for ovarian cancer, hysterectomy not being covered by an insurer, or costing more than when the procedure is related to someone's gender transition. Well, here's the thing, because it's biological sex. Transgender man can still get ovarian cancer because she is a biological female. She was born female, trying to be a dude, and she still has female plumbing. So no, what you are saying in this article, this particular part is inaccurate because it's biological female. It is not, oh, hey, I feel like, no, this is exactly biological sex. Which is based on biological sex. A trans man is a biological woman thinking she's a dude. Okay? Just like a trans woman is a man thinking is a biological man thinking he's a woman. No, biological sex. She would still be able to get treatment for ovarian cancer. You freaking liars. Okay, the Trump rule makes changes to gender-based discrimination protections beyond Section 1557 of the ACA. It affects regulations pertaining to access to health insurance, for example, including cost sharing, health plan marketing, and benefits. The rule could also mean that those seeking an abortion could be denied care if performing the procedure violates the provider's moral or religious beliefs. And no one should be forced to pay for a decision you made. We're going to toss out rape, not because it's not covered, but hear what I'm saying. Close your legs. Stop sleeping around. Take responsibility for you. If you and the man you sleep with, biological man you sleep with, produce a child because you decided to sleep around, I'm so tired of this shit too, then you need to take responsibility. Okay? No one should be paid or forced to pay to kill that child. I'm sorry. No, this is another thing that I'm done with. Oh, well, we shouldn't be told what to do about sex, but here, pay to help me kill my child. No, go. Oh, so done. Even with this new rule finalized, an LGBTQ person who's discriminated against or denied health care can still sue, and courts may rule that their civil rights were violated in such case, but that's not an easy avenue, Dawson said. We're the polar opposite of Canada. Let me tell you something that happened over this past week. So I've touched upon this lunatic on my channel, Morgan Ogre. He is a woman trying to be, or excuse me, he's a dude trying to be a woman, acts as a trans activist, and the person that's under him, his disciple, Jonathan Yaniv. So anyway, these two, Morgan Ogre to be specific, remember a video I did a while back, I want to say beginning of 2018, maybe 2020, it had to do with the Vancouver rape relief for domestic abuse victims, for women, naturally born women. Yeah, this shit got their funding pulled because how dare they not let in a man trying to be a woman into a woman-only space. This is what I'm talking about. So this biological sex thing would also prevent that from happening down here. Canada's lost. I will say, however, because like I said, I got into a fight with Morgan Ogre, whatever he wants to call himself. And I'm not trying to be hateful. You guys have seen my tweets, you've seen my videos, you should know exactly where I'm coming from. It's time. It is so freaking time. People need to live in reality, need to deal with their freaking shit. I'm not gonna live in La La Land with you. No. Okay. Anyway, going back to that is a perfect example of a service being forced to have to deal with someone's feelings, how they feel. So, but that again, that does not happen down here. Not anymore, anyways. As I said, there's a paradigm shift. The tides are turning. And it's about damn time. Because of limited. Nope, I already read that. Because of limited access to litigation, I think it's fair to state that the ramifications of the rule could be pretty significant, she said. Protections will also vary based on where someone lives. So this would be a case by case, which I'm glad, and it won't be a blanket. She added, so the rule creates a patchwork for civil rights compared to standard protections. Yes, so it's almost like religious cases, when they're taken to a court of law, whether or not religious discrimination actually happened. Yes, it needs to be a freaking case by case and not a damn blanket. Because there are legitimate, I'll give you a legitimate thing that with health services, some, I want to say, provide housing or whatnot, being told no to housing based off of your gender identity or how you live, I do think that's bullshit and that could be a legit worry. I don't know if this ties into that, but that's just one example of, hey, I was actually discriminated against wrongfully because I'm trans, and that's for housing. Housing is a basic need. So that is one thing I can see. But as for having doctors being forced to do this and that, or insurers being forced to pay for this and that for like a service, say for example, a trans woman trying to get ovarian cancer screen. No, fuck no. First off, dude doesn't even have the plum. You need ovaries first to actually scan for that and check for that. What are they gonna swab? I'll stop right there because yeah, I probably already sound like an asshole as it is. Okay, I believe, because I'm scrolling around, for Sobrino, this move has been a long time coming. Yes, it has. He joined the Trump administration from the Heritage Foundation. Ooh, why does that name sound familiar? A conservative think tank where he wrote a paper on gender protections in section 1557. He is also a devout Catholic and, as director of the Office for Civil Rights, has made protections of religious freedom a key focus, including the rights of doctors to refuse to provide care that contradicts their religious or moral beliefs. So again, I do stand behind that 100%. There's one case, there's actually two cases, because I did cover this. One happened at a Walgreens, one happened at CVS. The CVS is where a mom, she miscarried or whatnot, or rather she had a stillborn inside her womb, and the doctor, or excuse me, the pharmacist was being a prick because had he actually fall back to his training, medical training, he would have known that she no longer had the child still alive. So pretty much you guys will remember that situation. A pharmacist refused particular medication that would have caused the mom's body to naturally abort the stillborn child. So he thought it was an abortion, blah, 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 blah. So that guy was a legit prick. And I don't quite remember what happened with that case because I kind of fell off, but that's one example of refusing service based off of someone's beliefs. Again, that dude was an idiot. And again, keeping a stillborn child in your womb is going to make a woman sick. And yeah, so that's one case. As I said, this needs to be a case by case, not an entire blanket. The other situation, I mentioned it on Twitter. I don't think I did a video for this one, but it had to do with someone who's getting hormone medication. They were transitioning. And that in itself is tricky because if you're at that point of getting cross-sex hormones, that means you have completely destabilized and crippled your natural hormone production. We had Trent Anime on so many months ago. They transitioned from male to female. And from what Trent Anime explained, if I remember correctly, certain parts of the biological male body was taken out. And that's part of whatever that surgery is called to invert the penis, which, by the way, once again, Mr. Metokur's TRANSTASTIC video is going to be in the description. That video has been my freaking weapon for this past year or so. Anyway, it's on BitChute, not on YouTube. I think YouTube removed it. It didn't last long on YouTube. Anyway, this might not last long on YouTube either, so this would be on BitChute as well. Let's continue on. The rule the HHS proposed on gender and discrimination in healthcare garnered 155,966 public comments. The final rule is nearly identical to the original version proposed last year. Conservative groups, including the Christian Medical Association, the Susan B. Anthony List, and the Heritage Foundation applauded the new HHS guidance. Health professionals, they know they must base medical decisions on biology and science, not ideology. Dr. Jeff Barrows, the Christian Medical Association's Executive Vice President for Bioethics and Public Policy, said after hearing the announcement, "We're hopeful that this rule will help steer consideration of gender issues in healthcare back towards science and away from politics and ideology, back to the protection of professional medical judgment and the freedom to adhere to long-observed ethical and moral standards." Yes, been a long time coming. Also, let me put this in there too, because I've already said this on Twitter, and I think I've said this in a few of my videos already. Due to what's being pushed alongside the trans cult ideology, you also have socialism along with some other stuff. Now, why do these two connect? You know what the trans stuff really does? It makes people sterile. So at this point, I'm I'm in the belief that is a form of freaking population control. How else do you get a bunch of people to freaking sterilize themselves willingly? You play off for their confusion and get them to destroy their reproductive systems and their natural bodies. Ryan Anderson, a senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation and former colleague of Sobrino, submitted a comment in support of the rule. Anderson said it simply reverses what he sees as the Obama's administration executive overreach, which it was. Just for the lawmaking process, it's important that the Trump administration clarify that that's not what Congress had in mind when they used the word sex, he said. Critics worry about access to healthcare, especially in a pandemic. Mary Bree, a freelance writer and transgender woman who lives outside Detroit, called the rule terrifying. Here we go. I can relate a decade of stories about getting health care because I'm trans. Bree said, we walk into any getting health care situation not knowing whether doctors are going to treat us well, whether we're going to get high quality care, whether any given random health care person is going to be terrible to us. It's not that they're going to be terrible to us. You have a biological man's bodies, and dollars to dimes, you're trying to get female services. No freaking wonder doctors are going to look at you like you're stupid. I mean, no offense. Come on, man. Once when seriously ill with the flu and having trouble breathing, Bree recalled she was sent home from a hospital in rural New York and ended up driving 90 minutes and crossing a lake by ferry to get treatment at a hospital in Vermont. Way too vague. You need to tell more what happened. No, bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. She said worries now that the rule can make transgender people who are already reluctant to seek medical care all the more likely to avoid coronavirus treatment and test. Bull freaking shit. This doesn't even tell what come on, man. Oh no. Okay. So I've been told by multiple nurses, when you go in for medical treatment, they don't care what you identify as. They'll ask you if you're pre-op, post-op, because they have to ask those questions now, and they still treat you, give you medications based off of your natural body. I'm calling bullshit. There's more to your story. Whatever. The way that the rule reads to me is that people could refuse to collect your COVID specimen because they don't want to touch a transplant. No. Get your. God damn it. No, that is not what that means. She said that's a recipe for spreading a really terrible pandemic among a really, really vulnerable group. That is not what that freaking means. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. No, that's not that. We went over what that means. God, man. I can't. Oh, let's see. I can't help but think how this impacts Black trans people," said Gaynor, the political science professor, who noted the African American transgender people are arguably the most marginalized group in our country. Oh, let's see who has the biggest victim card. African Americans who get COVID-19 are much more likely to. That sounds kind of racist. Are much more likely to die from that disease than our white American statistics show. Like who? Oh, wow. A recent report from the Williams Institute at UCLA estimates that hundreds of thousands of transgender adults may be especially vulnerable to COVID because they have an underlying condition, you think, are over 65, like health insurance, or live in poverty. You think about the underlying condition. I wonder what that is. For Black transgender people, Gaynor said, it's layers of oppression. Oh, dear God. It's transphobia on top of racism, on top of economic. Oh, blah. All of that could affect their ability to get health care during the pandemic, she said, which in turn could have a public health implications for all. No, you are attaching shit to this rule that has nothing to do with it. It does not matter if you're trans, you can still get COVID testing. That is not freaking sex-based. Okay, so this is the bullshit I'm talking about, people. I'm so tired of it. I'm beyond done. Katie Keith, a health law professor at Georgetown University, noted that the new rule could have another chilling effect. Even if no one actually does discriminate more because of the rule, you created a fear. Whatever. And see, laws always create a fear for a certain group of people. It never freaking fails. That will never change. She pointed to research documenting how the public charge rule, which penalizes people who are seeking to become citizens if they use public safety net programs such as nutrition and housing assistance, affected people and programs outside the scope of the rule itself. When they target these vulnerability populations, you see less enrollment in health insurance. They're not targeting. They're doing away with the freaking lunacy that Obama brought in with his crap. You see folks scared to go to the doctor. Why? Because they're going to be treated like their biological sex, not because of what they have in their delusioned head. I'm not trying to be mean, but you know how much freaking nonsense this is, and how this big pharma and even the government plays on so many broken people's, I want to say, mental handicaps or even emotional handicaps, because that's what it is. It is confusion taken to such a high degree, whether they've been through some sort of trauma and the ramifications from that haven't been dealt with, or they have some sort of mental disability or are on the spectrum and they just register stuff different. Did you know, going back to the drag kid stuff, because I believe I mentioned that at the beginning of this video, they targeted a bunch of kids with Down syndrome and made them perform. I'm not kidding. The the trans stuff, the trans cult targets people with vulnerabilities. This is not Trump targeting people, vulnerable people. Oh no, the trans cult has way done that. No, this is Trump peeling back the freaking lunacy that the Obama administration allowed in. Let me continue. Let's see. Although the Heritage Foundation Anderson supports the rule, he said the prospect that it could have a chilling effect is a very reasonable concern. That's why you have to do it case by case, not blanket. I don't think any reasonable person wants to see trans people not enrolling in healthcare plans and not having access to healthcare. Healthcare that is for their biological sex. As I said, if you are a trans woman, you cannot expect to get a cervical cancer screening because you don't have a cervix. Just like a trans man cannot get a screening for testicular cancer because they don't have testicles. Ugh. Okay. What's needed, he said, is a finger-grain approach to this issue, again, case by case, such as a new law in Congress that protects LGBTQ people from healthcare discrimination generally, but carves out protection for providers who refuse to provide care related to sex reassignment. No. Add more in there to where you can't go after doctors if you are biological male. You cannot go after a doctor for refusing to give you female services because it's not what your body needs nor requires. That protection needs to be in there too. Because I've heard cases about that shit. The doctor's the one that usually gets in trouble. Or let's bring up Jonathan Yaniv, because this isn't a medical health service. This is just a beauty service. To where, if you guys don't remember, Jonathan Yaniv, whatever the hell he wants to call himself these days, went after beauty parlors or spa areas, all run by foreign women, by the way, because they wouldn't touch his ball and penis. So, yeah. What's next? A word from the High Court and perhaps Congress. Now that it's marked final, this rule, which was issued by the agency of the executive branch, may now encounter hurdles via the two other branches of the federal government. This month, for example, the U.S. Supreme Court is set to weigh in on two major cases on the meaning of the word sex. And in employment discrimination. Oh, I wonder if it has to, one of them has to do with that funeral home. Okay. The two cases involve issues closely related to the legal questions at play, and Sobrino's HAS rule and the High Court's decision might have a major implications for the rule's legal footing. So it's fun that they're finalizing this rule before we have the Supreme Court decision. No, it's not that wild. It really isn't. Meanwhile, in Congress, House Democrats have already asserted they strongly disagree with the HHS rule. In early May, Speaker Nancy Pelosi issued a statement that read in part, the administration must immediately abandon this outrageous un-American plan and give LGBTQ individuals the reassurance that they will never be denied the health care they or their families need. No. I don't. Now that the final rule is out, Congress does have a way of invalidating it using the Congress Review Act. That would only happen in this case if within 60 days that Congress is in session, Trump were no longer president, and simple majorities in both chambers of Congress voted to block the rule. Simple majorities. Even if Democrats win big in November, it's not clear if that's a possibility given the tricky timeline. Congress is typically in recess in August, and the COVID pandemic may complicate matters further. I honestly don't think the Downs are going to get the Senate. I really don't. Not with the freaking bullshit they've pulled over this past year and what the Democrats have been allowing in their cities. So I remember saying in the video covering the riots how this isn't so much as a left versus right, this is more elites versus everyone else. But let's not bullshit, because a lot of the places that the riots are being allowed to partake in and get out of hand are in Democratic run cities. Just like Seattle. Right now we have Antifa taking over a few blocks of Seattle, 6 blocks, calling it Chaz, and Democratic Mayor Jenny has allowed this and won't do a damn thing. So there is that. This is still elites versus everyone else because there's an agenda with all this. But let's look at the people who are letting this happen, just like Mayor Lightfoot, too, of Chicago, is letting Chicago pretty much burn to the ground. Yeah, there's actually something floating around on Twitter right now between her and an alderman, Democratic, by the way, who is asking for assurance, safety, and backup, and she's telling, oh, we're doing all we can, blah, 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 whatever. You're letting your city burn on purpose. They're letting their cities freaking stray into chaos on purpose. It's an agenda, people. Let's continue because, oh my gosh, this video is near and a half an hour. Let's see. The date at which the final rule would be able to avoid this congressional threat is a moving target. Keith said, folks are watching the calendar now wondering when is the 60-day legislative deadline. What's more certain, she said, is that there would be lawsuits to try to overturn the rule or block it from going into effect. By the way, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not going to happen. I don't think they're going to be able to block this. There is so many people awake right now about this crap, and then there are Republicans and just grassroots. I mean, there are so many people involved right now that just really want to undo the lunacy. Again, you have custody cases, parents coming to bat for their kids, which is getting media attention. You have the movement of detransitioners coming out saying, hey, they never helped me with my deeper problems. They just said, hey, you have gender dysphoria. Here's some cross-sex hormones. Here's some puberty blockers. So I don't think they're going to be able to block it. I do think the paradigm is shifting, and I think there's going to be more and more support behind doing away with this craziness. Let's continue. What's more certain, she said, is that there will be I already read that. On Friday, less than an hour after HSS issued its press release, the LGBTQ activist group, Lambda Legal, said it would challenge the new rule in court. Today's rule is a tragically failed public health policy. No, it's not, because it's based off of reality, not emotions, not delusions, not what you think you are. It is based off of what you actually are, naturally and biologically. And just flat out illegal. No, what Obama did was freaking illegal. Omar Gonzalez Pagan, Lambda Legal Senior Attorney in Healthcare Strategist, said in a written statement, we will be challenging the rule because at a time when the entire world is battling a dangerous pandemic, which in the United States has affected more than 200,000 people and killed more than 116,000 people, it is critical for everyone to have ready access to potentially life-saving healthcare that they need. Nobody's getting denied healthcare. It's just when you have people thinking they're the opposite sex or wanting to be the opposite sex, try to go in and get services that are meant for the opposite sex is when we have a problem. Unless someone does file a lawsuit that results in a judge putting the rule on hold, it is set to go into effect 60 days from the date the rule is published in the Federal Register. So, like I said, this has been a long time coming. A lot of people are fed up with this crap because they're pushing it on kids. I think, honestly, because it's being pushed in with socialism, communism, it's being pushed and lumped together with a bunch of globalism, global citizen, open borders. This is all, it's a freaking spiderweb. I know I probably sound like Alex Jones right now, but I have talked about this. I have retweeted stuff. I have found articles on my own. I've been talking to people. This is all an agenda. The transgender crap is just a part of it. It's just a part of it, and I think it's being used as a population control. Because again, as I said, think about this. What's the easiest way to make a bunch of people sterilize themselves on purpose? Because that's what transitioning does. That's what putting children on puberty blockers does. You can't get that crap back once you fully destroy your body. There's no way. It's not reversible. None of it is. So again, I pose the question. I'm gonna wrap it up here because we're over half an hour. My goodness, this was a short article turned into almost a 40-minute video. But anyway, I'm not trying to be hateful. I don't hate anybody, but at the same time, I am so done with this crap. I let me touch upon my personal stuff. So with the Save James stuff, because I was putting out a lot of stuff, there was a poem I had screenshotted, and it's on my channel, and I believe it's Forbidden Chambers. I could have been it's either Forbidden Chambers or Forgotten Chambers, but it's a poem literally I did 1 year before I came on with the Save James stuff. 1 year, and it talked about my confusion during my teen years because I'm a trauma survivor. I'm a rape and sexual abuse survivor. So that poem dealt with my struggle because during high school I did have that struggle. I had a lot of people thinking I was gay. I at one point did want to be a guy because I didn't want to be seen as weak. I understand that struggle. I don't understand like all the ins and outs of it, but I can relate to it. I can actually speak with some authority to it because I understand why I had it, and I understand that I was able to overcome a lot of that thanks to the grace of God and my parents. I am so glad, and I've said it on my channel before, that my parents were not stupid. That my parents, as strict as they were at times, and I'm not shitting on them, but like overbearing about certain stuff, but they still prevented me from destroying myself. So I am very thankful about that. So I understand that struggle, parts of that struggle to a degree. So when I see this stuff, when I see this, oh hey, this is the answer. No, you're legitimately destroying yourself, but you can't convince people. They have to have the revelation themselves. They have to, and I'm gonna bring the Christian aspect, either reach out to God, talk to a counselor, which people, and I'm gonna go off just for a second, I'm gonna wrap it up. A lot of people want to get rid of what they call conversion therapy or reparative therapy, where you go in. I'm not talking about shock therapy. I'm not talking about none of the freaking bullshit they did in the 50s, 60s, whatever. I'm talking about where somebody goes into a counselor, and the counselor, if it's done right, because it's my belief that God can break someone free of anything. Um, but if it's done right, that the person actually deals with those issues. Nobody is born gay. Nobody is born trans. That is confusion that creeps in into various places, either through indoctrination, trauma, mental disability. There's all kinds of variables involved. And people are like, well, you're an asshole. I'm subbing. Well, then you do you. Because at this point, I've been vocal. I've been more vocal about this for the past 2 freaking years. As I said, I'm going to keep repeating it. The more I'm exposed to cases like Save James Younger and Save Miles Gortz, the more vocal I'm going to freaking get. Because I didn't realize how freaking bad it was. And at a time, I will say at a time, I try to be tolerable. But even though it goes against what I've come to understand, my own, I guess you could say, struggles to triumphs, my revelations, my beliefs, what I've come to understand in the Bible, and just overall, I try to be tolerable of it for a time, and I'm just, no, not so much, no, I'm done. I'm done. I don't hate people. Everyone needs their basic rights, housing, food, clothing, that sort of thing. But it is high time. I'm for the nuclear family. I'm for traditional marriage. Under God, one man, one woman. That's why you notice the colors. For those of you who have like not noticed yet, I have a channel banner. All my social media has these 4 colors: white, purple, red, and blue. God, one flesh, wife, and husband. That goes back to the sword analogy because you flip those colors, you flip it upside down, and you're gonna get the which is the pommel, which is God. The sword tang inside the hilt, that's one flesh. Wife is the handguard, which is red, and blue for the blade. You flip that, dude, I was so blown away, and I've talked about that. I'll probably delve into that more, but I was so blown away because I got those colors, and I kind of redid them because they were like purple, pink, and I just did in red and blue, kind of updated it, not to be confused with the bisexual flag. But I was actually blown away because I was sitting there in church, and I will wrap it up after this. I was sitting there in church one day, and I just remember how like angry about certain stuff that I was, and I think had to do, I don't remember, like LGBT or something. I was going through my own struggles, and I knew what I wanted. I knew what God had promised me, and I just had this flag, these colors come to mind. And so, and I've talked about this on my channel before, Marriage is Like a Sword, I'll link that in the description below, to where I was sitting there writing up my vows as when I was working at one of my retail jobs before me and my husband got married. I was sitting at a poem writing out my vows, and I just had 2 lines, and it just freaking hit me. I am the hilt, you are the blade, a match in heaven made. And I just sat there for a minute. I'm going like, what the fuck? So I just, for me, and I know people are like, oh my god, you're crazy. She's a diva. Oh, I've heard it all already. But for me, I've gotten to the point where I realized how important this stuff is. I used to mock this stuff a lot when I was younger. A lot of people thought I was a feminist. But over the years, I have learned so much. I have come to certain revelations, and I don't pray a lot or read my Bible really, but I still believe in God, and I do want to get back to that space where I am closer to Him. But anyway, that's a whole other ball of wax. But my point is, I have learned a lot. I have learned a lot from being on YouTube. I've seen so much that's not even talked about in church. So this is my revelation. This is my understanding. This is what I've come and I realized the more I value like the nuclear family, husband and wife, the more I come to understand not only myself, but why everything was designated that particular way. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on a religious chance. I did say I was going to end it off here. You guys have a wonderful night. I will try to keep following this because this is new. I didn't know about this until someone posted it on Twitter. So yeah, I will try to actually keep up to date with this because I'm actually glad for this. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, you're transphobic, you're hateful. No. Anyway, see ya.